Bismillah. To continue our discussion of Euclid's elements, to here understand the deeper metaphysical meanings and implications of his definitions. Because as we said before, the definition is an essence. By the definition, what is the subject and the predicate? The subject here being the point, the predicate, that which has no parts. This definition gives the essence of what the thing is, the essence of what a point is, what a line is, the ends of a line, in other words, a line segment. Thus, Euclid brings about a hierarchy of essences, signaling that the most fundamental geometric essence, the most fundamental geometric reality, that which is prior and first and in the beginning, is the point. A point is that which has no part. This tiny sentence here houses profound metaphysical wonder. For if I now, what's happening here? If I bring forth the whiteboard, we see that the point, this is the beginning of geometry. This is the beginning of Euclid's vision. And geometry is the beginning of spatial reality. The first manifestation of being is geometry. Because space is not just physical space, but space refers to the substratum of manifestation itself. It refers to the very structure of being, the architectonic of existence. That which is first is the point. What comes thereafter is the line. The point begets the line. And thus there is the line segment. Now just this triad of concepts really illustrates the Platonic worldview and vision of reality. For we see that the line is bigger than the point. The line contains the point. The point is inside of the line. In fact, let us call this the origin point, the center of the line. But though the line contains the point, truly the point contains the line. In the physical order of being, yes, the line contains the point, in the same way that the body houses the soul. But in the metaphysical order of being, it is the point which contains the line. Because the point begets the line. The line is the generation of the points. The line is that locus of manifestation as the point circumscribes all its possibilities and permutations of existence. All the ways in which the point can be traverse across the line. The seed is contained inside of the tree, yes, physically, but truly the tree is contained inside of the seed. And thus, the point is the monad. The point is God, that which has no part, which therefore is pure unity and simplicity. In other words, it is pure oneness. It is the one. Euclid begins with the point, because that primordial, partless point was in the beginning before the world itself. It is the divine essence, pure, infinite, absolute unity and simplicity. That begets the line. And the nature in which it begets the line is also symbolic. The idea of the duality of generation, what we might call the number line, expanding in both the positive and negative directions. And that principle of expansion is really given by number to go forwards. We have the generation of unity. The ways of unity are the generations of the one. By the one here, we mean the one as simplex, the one as unity, distinguished from the one as pure oneness, which is the origin, which is the zero. For every number is a permutation of unity. The number n is merely the number one arranged into some structure, some figure of arrangement, which you might even think of as a circle. Any number creates a circle around the point of one. No, that would be n, would it not? Yes. And the number one really is each of these numbers. It is each of these numbers are forms of oneness. And so the totality of the number n really is the number one. And as I call in my philosophy, these are the forms of the singularity of oneness. Thus, the monad is the singularity of being, the oneness of being, and the line are all the forms of the monad. And thus we have, let's just make it another color. Any points on the line, all points on the line, are delineations of the monad, the primordial point, the point which has no name. These points have names, being images of the monad, and that action of the monad upon the substrate of the line is really the action of creation, the action of God upon the world, when the Spirit of God fluttered upon the faces of the deep, when the Spirit of God brooded upon the waters of the deep. For creation, in its original signification, the word khalq in Arabic, khalaqa, has a meaning of cutting. For that creative action of the divine monad upon the infinite substratum of being, the ground of existence, is one of delimitation and delineation to an image of itself, create geometrical figures and arrangements, which we thus call the existent things. And thus the line segment is after the line. The line segment is composed of two things, composed of the substratum of the line and the image of the monad. These are the active poles of essence and substance, of spirit and of matter. For any existent thing has both form and substance. It is first a line, something infinitely receptive to the action of the infinite intelligence. But that infinite intelligence gives form and shape to the material substratum, breathes spirit into body, and so delimits and therefore creates, yakhluqu, cuts up this particular shape of the line segment of the existent thing. All things are composed of this masculine active pole and the feminine receptive and creative and birthing pole. And the first manifestation of the monad, the first instantiation, truly in the image of the monad itself. This is the declension of divinity into the world. That is, the origin is the Logos, the Word of God, the incarnation of divinity within the world. For there must be an initial reference point from which to give name and therefore form to other things. We can only make sense of A and B as points with position and reference, with reference to a central point. That central point is the Logos. And every point in turn is a Logos. Every point is a Word of God, being instantiated in its particular form. And thus this gives the metaphysical foundation of the first book of Euclid's Elements: the point, the monad, the line, material substratum and arrangements of unity, and most significantly the line segment, the most fundamental configuration of geometry, because the line segment allows us to produce shapes and to produce figures, allows us to speak of the triangular configuration given 3 points. So thus have the triangle, because there must be a cutting. This intersection must necessarily and mutually produce this figure. So most significantly, the idea of the line segment really captures what we might call the Aristotelian physics, which sees the world composed of these signes of dualities. But truly in the beginning there is the Platonic Parmenidean vision of reality, which sees only pure unity before all things else. So let us leave this small propedeutic prolegomenon into the mysteries of geometry here, while we ask God, the monad, the one, to teach us the ways of unity and the generations of being, and to initiate us into the spiritual mysteries of geometry and into the deep contemplative vision of Euclid's Elements.